I am Jean Schumacher. I am the Queen of Diamonds. And my partner is Nancy Matthews. She's the Queen of Hearts. And together, we're the Starch Queens. Our lifestyle and weight loss program is online. And this is where we're going to provide you with coaching, recipes, educational program. This is going to help everybody to lose weight and to heal your body. We call it the trifecta approach. The trifecta approach is where you have to change what goes in, so that's the food and the drink. You have to change what goes on, so that's like the personal care products and the cleaning products that you're being exposed to, environmental toxins. Then you have to exercise. So that's what we call our trifecta. And you can find our program at www.sqweightloss.com. You check out our resources. We've got a lot of stuff, videos, cooking videos, recipes on starchqueens.net. And please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that's Starch Queens. So today's topic is going to include some Thanksgiving ideas from recipes, but also how to avoid that mental stress of the holiday, and how that we have a time change coming up and how that can affect our sleep. The SAD, not the standard American diet, but the seasonal affective disorder, once we start getting shorter days, how that can affect us too. And if we have time, the story of stuff by Annie Leonard, we're going to talk about that, and some more top toxic beauty ingredients to avoid. And if you would please take some time, please share it to your timeline, because we want to help try and get the message out to everybody. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Jean. How are you? Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I love talking Tuesdays.
They are great. Absolutely
Awesome.
great.
I want to say hi. We got Chris. Oh, you were just going to say Chris and Kat and Debbie. Hi, ladies. I'm so glad that you're joining us. We got a great lineup of questions and topics tonight. Awesome.
We do. And we're going to have Dr. Danaev had to switch, and he's going to go on next week. And we're going to continue our conversation about heart disease next week. So sorry if there was any confusion, but he had to change at the last minute. So we look forward to having Dr. Danaev again.
Yep, we do definitely want to have Dr. Danaev back. I mean,
Absolutely.
The information is just amazing.
Oh my God, he's a walking encyclopedia.
Yep.
And I got to sit next to him at the conference at Montefiore, and the whole time he just kept, in my ear as I'm listening to these guys. He kept saying, but there's this study that goes up, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's amazing.
He is. So we've got a big holiday coming up, Thanksgiving. And one of the things for me is, because I know that there's going to be food there that is going to tempt me. There are things that have been in my family that go back, since I was a kid, that people are going to make that kind of food. And I know it's not healthy for me. So one of my strategies that I do going into Thanksgiving is I make sure, literally, as we're pulling into the driveway, I'm eating. The whole drive over to whoever house we're going to, I'm eating. I mean, not, like carrots, celery, apples, things like that.
High fiber.
Definitely high fiber.
High fiber, going to fill you up.
Right. So as I'm pulling in the driveway, my food is like right up to here, and my esophagus. It's like, so when I walk in, I'm not hungry. So if I'm not hungry, then I can deal with things so much better. How about you, Nancy? What do you do?
I do the same thing, Jean. If I know that I'm going to an event where there's going to be limited plant-based options for me, I will definitely, obviously, take my own food, and then I will eat before I go. I mean, Nick and I have been known to sit at our dining room table and have a couple potatoes before we go, or, have a regular meal before we go. And then we take something to share and we eat at the potluck or the family get together. And we're not ravenous. We're not tempted to go to the hors d'oeuvre table. We're not tempted by the chips and the dips that are there, because that's my downfall. That's my kryptonite. That's my thing is potato chips. I'm pretty sure that my middle name is Potato Chip.
Frito-Lay.
Nancy Frito-Lay Matthews. That's me. Mine's Ruffles. Ruffles Ridges. Mine is Ruffles has Ridges Matthews. So that's me. Yeah. So that's the thing. And so I have to go with centering myself. I do a very mindful talk with myself before I enter. I just say, okay, remember your why, remember your goals. You're here to see friends and family and to socialize and take the food out of it. Bring your food that you're going to eat, go in, have fun, get out, get in the car, go home, and not have to give it, get into the guilty feeling of,
Yes.
you caved. That's a rough one. That takes actually the whole fun out of the event, because then you're just beating yourself up over and over. And then you start to have, anxiety and stress about the next one. So if you can get one good event under your belt, it gives you the ammunition to do the next one, the next one, and the next one. So It's like that first bite. It's like Lindsay Nixon says, it's like chasing the dragon. You never get that first bite back. Yeah. Then you're just like, okay, well, you cave in and you just go for it. And then, your memory takes over, and it's just like you're all in. You're swan diving into the bowl of Ruffles. So, totally. definitely eat before you go. Take a good food. Jean, do you got any recipes that are great for Thanksgiving?
I do.
And Christmas that's coming up.
Right. We've got a bunch of holidays that kind of it's the kind of fallish, seasonalish,
right.
Kind of, we're looking at root vegetable kind of things. But one of the things I absolutely found when I guess Joe Cross was just starting to come out, and he had a guest chef his name is Chef Mateo. And he had this absolutely amazing winter kale salad. And basically you're taking avocado, lemon juice, and you take the kale and you mix the avocado and lemon juice and you massage the kale in. And then you add carrots, raisins, sunflower seeds, and a little salt just before you serve it. It really, really makes it pop. And that is absolutely a fantastic salad. It's very simple, but yet so good. How about you? What do you got?
Well, actually, I'm not going to share a specific recipe. I'm going to share recipes that I've made in the past over the last 6.5 years of being plant-based, are ones that I found are always my go-to favorites, are on the Forks Over Knives app. Yeah. So I have the app on my phone. They have really good holiday fare. And for $4.99, you can get the Forks Over Knives app. It's worth every cent. The McDougall app is $4.99. It's worth every cent. But I've made the autumn mixed green salad. Very good. I haven't done the chestnut soup because I don't have any chestnuts. But I have done the mashed potatoes. And my husband, Nick, found this gravy recipe, and he actually has the recipe on a picture on his phone, and we make it throughout the year, and you would never know it didn't have butter and oil in it. It's absolutely delicious. So I'll post the recipe in the comments after we're done tonight. It is just an amazing brown gravy to go with mashed potatoes. What do you prefer, Jean, for doing your mashed potatoes? Do you do almond milk or soy milk? Or
I use almond milk.
Do you? I've done both. I'm
a big fan of that. So how do you make your gravy?
I don't make it. Nick makes it. Okay. I don't make it. Yeah. So I'm going to have to get him in here to tell us how he makes it. It's just a powder recipe. It's super good, but I'll put the recipe in the comments. And then I've made multiple times a pumpkin pie that uses a pecan crust. It's very calorically dense. It's for the once or twice a year, Thanksgiving, Christmas. And that is from Lindsay Nixon's Happy Herbivore holiday recipe book. It's really, really good too. So there's a lot of recipe websites out there. Freevegancom blog over on the left. Just click on holiday, and there is a whole plethora of holiday recipes. There's Forks Over Knives, McDougall recipes that are on the McDougall website. There is not a shortage of holiday recipes that are oil-free, plant-based, and no added sugar or salt. So,
well, I got to put a shout out to Clunker's Kitchen, crock pot mushrooms.
To die for.
Yeah. And so, those are slow cooked and absolutely fabulous. And to take have that and to bring that along as a side dish, that is absolutely fabulous. So it's called crock pot mushrooms from clunkerskitchen.com. That's an absolutely fabulous recipe. Another one that I really, really like is from Fat Free Vegan Kitchen. and it's called Ethiopian spiced pumpkin bisque.
Ooh, I bet that's good.
Oh, it is. If you're looking for a really good, simple soup, and it's very simple, but it's got my favorite bear in it.
Yeah.
So, and absolutely delicious. So if you're looking for something very fall, very, pumpkin, it doesn't get much more fall than pumpkin. So this is just an absolutely delicious, different kind of tasting because it's not traditional seasonings that we would use here in the US. So that is an absolutely delicious, delicious recipe. Another one that I have that I've made up is called glazed carrots. You're just taking carrots, because that's a great side dish. You just got carrots, and I use water, the zest of 1 orange, and the juice of 3 oranges, and just a couple teaspoons of maple syrup and some grated ginger root, and just basically cook that together. Ooh, really, really good. So
that sounds great.
Oh, that's a good recipe. And another one is just basically, sweet potatoes. We used to do the sweet potatoes with marshmallows on top.
Oh yeah,
but
I never liked those. I never liked them. My mom didn't make those, and so our sweet potatoes, which I can actually recreate technically as vegan, but my mom's recipe was to pre-cook the yams till they were just barely soft, cut them in half, put them in the baking dish, and then cover them with a stick of butter, and then cover it with brown sugar, bake them, candied yams. Yep. They were really good.
Yeah. Well, my sweet potato, basically I cook the sweet potatoes ahead of time and then just use some milk, plant-based milk, some maple syrup, just a couple teaspoons of the maple syrup. And I also like to use the pumpkin pie spice. And you can use salt and pepper to taste. Yeah. But that just makes an absolutely fabulous, simple, very simple to use. It's great.
Oh, yeah. Delicious. The thing about Thanksgiving, too, is, we've all, as America, it's an American holiday, obviously. It's so centered around the turkey. And, right. Or in my mom's side of the family, we kind of progressed from the turkey to the prime rib. Everybody got burned out on turkey. And so then they went to prime rib, and then it went from prime rib to prime rib and crabs. We would get the California Dungeness, the Dungeness crab, and it would become this big feast. And then everybody would be sick. Everybody would just eat this massive amount of food and then just be literally sick. And do you know that on Thanksgiving and Christmas are the two have the highest rates of cardiac death and emergency room visits out of every day of the year?
Because you're eating such awful stuff. I mean, yes, just really.
It's the fat. And the high amount of fat is truly causing cardiac arrest. Yeah. So, I mean, you can actually Google it and look it up. The 2 days out of the year with the highest emergency room visits and cardiac deaths are Thanksgiving and Christmas, from just indulgence, from alcohol and rich food.
And we hope, if anybody's out there listening, that if you've got some great recipes to share, please share them in the post, because the more that we can share and help each other.
Right, is a really good thing. And the thing of it is to kind of take the holidays back, take them back to making it centered around being with your family and make the food a lesser importance.
Right.
So that's what we do. I mean, we're going to have our plant-based Chico potluck on November 11th. And then I think both my daughter and my son-in-law both work in healthcare at the hospital. So I'm not sure if they have it off, because I think they had it off last year. And then my youngest daughter, we might just have a simple meal and go to the movies on Thanksgiving. So we're going to do our big, thing at the potluck with plant-based Chico. So I think ours might even just be uneventful this year. Just a real simple plant-based meal.
Okay.
And spend time with family, with my daughter.
Yeah, that's the big thing is spending time with family.
Exactly.
That's what it's all about. And, try and make the food secondary. Make sure that you're bringing food with you that you can eat. And, if you're going to somebody else's house, typically what my husband and I do, we like to bring a salad, and we bring the Plant Pure Nation, the food, those dishes, and we'll just heat them up. As soon as we get there, we'll put them in our mini Hot Logics and start those cooking. So we'll have a main dish, and then we've got salad, the main dish. We bring some hors d'oeuvres for us to eat, the rice crackers and maybe some of the cheese, the plant-based cheese. It's a little bit higher caloric density, but as you said, it's a once a year kind of thing that we I will not take that home with me. I will leave it there, because if it comes home with me, I will eat it.
If it's in the house, it's in the mouth.
Right. So I'll bring it there to share with other people, just to show them that, we just don't eat grass and bark, tree bark.
Twigs.
Right?
Twigs.
So, and then usually I'll bring some kind of dessert, if I'm going. But, in times that I've gone to, when I've had it either at my house or whatever, I've made a lot of these other dishes that I've talked about. So yeah,
Awesome.
no, it's really good. I love Thanksgiving. It's one of my favorite holidays. And so is Christmas, coming up after that.
Yep. I can't believe we're in the fourth. We're turn 4, and in the last end of 2018, it's gone by. It's been a blur.
I know. I mean, I'm still like, my head is still like, aren't we still in summer?
Yeah.
I can't believe we already, for me, starting school and we're back to school and we just finished our first marking period. It's like, what?
Yeah, that's
really
crazy.
Grades are already due. Anyway.
Yeah, I know. So, Cassie's doing midterms and it's already, they've been going since August, middle of August here. So a couple months now. Wow. So what's up with the agenda tonight, Jean? What's up? What's this business about time change and how it can affect sleep?
Well, this is kind of interesting because it's almost, some people are really complaining about it because, I understand the issue of why we did it once upon a time, but we're not an agricultural based society anymore. We've kind of, moved past that. But it seems like a small thing, that you're moving an entire day forward by an hour, but it can really throw off your sleep cycle. And I mean, this is almost like a time change that society has imposed. It's like kind of like a jet lag almost that we have.
It truly is.
It is. And one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people are going to make is, I'm going to get this extra hour. So partay, I'm going to stay up. And, and that's going to throw your sleep off too. That
it really does.
So one of the biggest things that causes a lot of this is the light change, because we tend to go by these cues. It's called circadian rhythm.
I was just going to say that circadian rhythm, and that's like I was mentioning, I read the book Chris Beat Cancer, and he talked about while he was healing his body, Jean, that he followed the circadian rhythm of sleep. He blacked out his room. I mean, literally, he said he took everything out of his room, blacked it out, used a black an eye mask so that he could follow the circadian rhythm, because it's imperative that you get a good night's sleep.
It is, absolutely. Yeah. And even just little lights can throw you off. I know I have like a power strip that's by my bed, and it's got a little glow red light on it. So I make sure before I go to sleep, I turn that power strip off. And if you're going to stumble up, because I have to go up to the bathroom. So what we do is we have a little tiny night light, just a very soft one that doesn't give off a lot of light. But in the middle of the night, it seems like it's a beacon, So we don't turn on any other lights as we go through. We just kind of keep our eyes closed because you're stumbling through.
You know how to navigate your house after all the years that you lived there.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't turn on lights, especially at nighttime. Just don't turn that light on at all. And prepare ahead. Like we have a little night light in the bathroom. It's based upon light, So if it turns on automatically by itself.
It has a sensor.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. That's what I was looking for. And
you
also want to make sure that you're eliminating, like caffeine or alcohol, things that are going to, stimulate the body. You want to make sure until your body gets adjusted to the new rhythm, to don't use those things. And, just also do things like, I love Neil. And I find myself doing this when I did a show with him. He talked about preparing for sleep mentally. So like, start yawning. Even though you don't have to yawn, just start yawning. And by about the fourth yawn, you really are yawning.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
it's releasing chemicals in your brain that it's telling your body, okay, time to shut down, start releasing these chemicals. So, and I find myself doing that now. Thank you, Neil. You're in my head. I appreciate
that and turning the lights down. That's one of the things in the book, again, referring back to Chris Beat Cancer, is to tell your brain that it's time to make melatonin. Yeah. And the melatonin production begins when you're in a dark environment, because then it's telling the brain, the circadian rhythm, that it's time to go to bed. So I'm turning down my living room lights. And like you, Jean, I've got a flat screen TV mounted on the wall, but there's a red power light that's like up there, even though it's turned off, it's just there. It drives me crazy. then a smoke alarm with a green glowing light above Nick's
Duct
head.
tape. Duct
Yeah,
tape.
exactly. And then I got one of those Amazon Spot Alexa things, Echoes, and it's too bright. So I'm finding myself, I put a sock over it. So I'm actually going to remove it because it's on my nightstand. So I'm actually going to take it out of the room. It's way too bright. And I find myself waking up, and I'm really, really, really starting to finally get that you need to be in a cool, really dark room to get a good night's sleep. It's really true. Because as I said, is that melatonin production begins when it's dark, and the best melatonin production, I believe he said, was between 11 and 2 in the morning. So that's when your best night of sleep is, and the most melatonin is. So that's when you want your room really dark, is so that you can get the maximum melatonin. You can actually get a form of jet lag from the time change.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And what's with the seasonal affective disorder?
It's not the standard American diet, but it's seasonal affective disorder.
Yep.
So I didn't know that.
Yes, I do. I am
a summer. About it.
I'm a summer girl. I love long days here in California with the sun. I like to bust open those windows and get the sun coming in because it gives me energy. So I noticed about 8 or 9 years ago that in the wintertime, I was just feeling lethargic. And, I've never really had a full on quote unquote depression, but I just would be like, I didn't want to do anything, just blah, bored, just really no energy to do anything. And then I read about SAD, seasonal affective disorder. And I'm like, hey, wait, that's me. That's got my name written all over it.
Symptoms?
Again, just lethargy. You just kind of feel like you're, I just would call it as my out of body winter persona, because you just don't have much energy. You just don't feel like doing much. You get invited to go someplace and you're like, I don't really want to go. You're not into anything because it's going to be dark and it's depressing. And so it's not like you're in a full blown like manic mania, bipolar depression.
Right.
You just feel down in the dumps, gloom. I guess the way to feel it is you're gloomy. Like my mom would say, you're acting gloomy. And so come to find out that I was experiencing SAD. I talked to my doctor, and then I watched a video on Dr. McDougall's website about it. And I was like, oh my goodness, Dr. McDougall recommends if you have SAD, get your, rear end in a tanning bed of all things for the UV light. And I thought, well, that's contradictory to whatever all of our, everything we're taught about, the skin cancer potential. But the UV lights, you only need to be in there for 10 minutes, like twice a week, for the UV lights to get into your brain. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. I've never been one to go into tanning beds because I don't like that you look orange. People look orange when they're in tanning beds.
I've never been to one. So
yeah. And it's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm so fair skinned. Before we went on a cruise one time, I did like a 4-week, go twice a week for 4 weeks, so I wouldn't turn into a burnt mess. So Dr. McDougall said, go to a tanning bed a couple times a week in his video. And so I did. I went and talked to the lady at the counter, and I said, well, I'm here because I think I have this SAD thing. And she goes, you would not believe how many people come in here crying their eyes out because they just feel they're just totally depressed, and they'll go lay in the bed and come out 15 minutes later and they're completely a different person. So I did. I went during the summer, was one of the years that we had that was really wet and rainy here. And I just had that gloomy feeling. And I went, gosh, I was going 3 times a week for 10 minutes, only 10 minutes each time. And it makes all the difference in the world. I had energy. I was actually going to exercise, and then I was going to the tanning bed place for 10 minutes, and it made all the difference in the world. And so I'm a big believer in that, but I'm not a fan of the tanning bed. Dr. Furman has on his website what's called a light therapy. And they have them on Amazon. You can get it for anywhere from $50 to $125. And it's like this, the screen's like, this big, say this big by this big. You can put it on your desk. You can put it on your nightstand, and you just turn it on, and you want that light to hit the top of your head so that those UV rays can get into your brain. and it makes all the difference in the world. So SAD is a real major thing.
I noticed like after Christmas, I think, I feel it because it's so dark. It's just,
right.
I mean, up till Christmas, you've got the lights, you've got you're putting up the Christmas lights and it's, exciting. Right. And then after Christmas, it's like,
Well, exactly. And I think I emailed you that graphic today to show you about North America. So it's like from probably Northern California, like if you took the United States and then the top third of it, all the way up to Canada and Alaska, because up there it's just dark all the time. So they have a high rate of SAD, but usually it's about the top third of the United States all the way up to the North Pole are affected by SAD. And it's not everybody, but I can tell it's like inside my body when it's the end of August, when it's the days, it's like I just get so excited about the longest day of the year for summer solstice. And then it's like, it's building for that, full, it doesn't get dark till like 9:15 at night. Yeah. And then it's like, it's getting darker and darker and darker. And now I'm looking outside and it's already practically dark. So it's a real thing. And a lot of people don't know about it. So light therapy is amazing for seasonal affective disorder.
The decrease in sunlight is going to disrupt your body's internal clock.
Right.
And it's going to lead to these feelings of depression. I mean, and one of the things is serotonin levels. Mm-hmm. And a drop in serotonin, which is it's a brain chemical, it's a neurotransmitter. This is going to affect your mood. And this, they think, might have an impact on the SAD, on this disorder.
Well, so, then you throw in the time change, and it's like, it's like terrible. Right. You go to work when it's dark, and I come home when it's dark, and then I come into my house, and the curtains are all closed. It's dark. So anyway, light therapy is 2 thumbs up from me.
Right. Well, but you also could do some foods that are going to help boost serotonin. Tryptophan is going to then create serotonin in your brain. Foods that are going to boost your serotonin levels are things like pineapples, tofu, nuts, seeds, bananas, whole grains, rice. And if you eat carbs, good carbs. I mean, we're not talking like potato chips. We're talking, rice or potatoes, things like that. These are going to cause your body to release more insulin, which is going to promote, amino acid absorption. And this leaves the tryptophan in the blood. So the tryptophan then goes on to become serotonin. So if you mix the high tryptophan foods with carbs, like say oatmeal and pineapple, then you're going to get a huge serotonin boost. So
yeah, that's delicious. I hadn't really ever thought about the food aspect of it because I was already eating. I mean, we are the starch queens after all.
Clearly,
I'm already eating a pretty high starchy, carby diet. I will definitely look into the food aspect of it for this winter. Right now, I'm already just thinking about getting the light therapy pulled out and getting it set up and just sitting down. And the thing is that you do it in the morning because you don't want to turn that on when you're wanting to build the melatonin and you want it to be dark to get a night's sleep. So you want to go get that night's sleep. So it's really important to do the light therapy. Just if you're at work, if you work at a desk, have a little portable light therapy on your desk and have it shining there so that it gets into your eyes and the top of your head. And it's not like blinding light, it's not like that in any way, shape, or form. It's just a nice light UV glow and makes a big difference. So
some other ways to help boost the serotonin is exercise.
Yep.
That's definitely. And of course, we talked about the sunshine, the light therapy, those are 2 things that you can also do.
Yep.
And positivity, I absolutely love that movie. It's called The Secret.
Oh yeah, it's a good one.
It is. And it talks about an attitude of gratitude. And my husband and I start the day off each day. And we wake up, we usually set the alarm so that we can lay in bed, for 10 or 15 minutes and just, share with each other, and I will turn to him and say, what are you thankful for? And having that attitude of gratitude, it really sets the day. And, having this, it can totally boost your serotonin levels. So like I might wake up going, I got to do this, I got to do that, and then we'll sit there and we'll talk about all the things we're thankful and grateful for, and it changes my mood. So that's definitely a mood booster. Also, gut bacteria. We're learning more and more and more about the gut bacteria, and eating the high fiber diet, it's going to help fuel that gut bacteria, which research shows plays a huge role in serotonin levels throughout. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing how the human body works. I mean, most people would be, myself included, had I not already been traveling down the plant-based journey and doing self-education, I would have most likely just gone to my doctor. The doctor would have prescribed some type of antidepressant, and then I would have been on the prescription treadmill, because you don't just stop taking antidepressants. So you would just get on that antidepressant roller coaster, and they have so many different side effects. So I was really glad that I connected the dots when I knew about Dr. McDougall and his vault of amazing newsletters and videos and interviews. And so that's, if you haven't checked out McDougall's website, www.mcdougall.com.
And he's got almost an encyclopedic, you're like, go to my March of 2003 newsletter to read that article. And you're like, how do you know that? I mean,
I know. It's amazing. I've seen him in person a couple times, and he'll refer back to April 19th, 1989 newsletter. And I'm like, who does that? He's got a photographic memory. He's like, who also has that type of memory is, she's an actress, and I can't think of her name. She played in Taxi. She played in Taxi. She can remember everything about the dates. I just find that absolutely fascinating.
She knows what shoes she wore on what day, on what outfit.
Yep.
Crazy. They did a thing on 60 Minutes on those people.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. It was incredible.
Absolutely
I'm not one of them.
No, I am not. I'm lucky if I can remember what I ate for breakfast,
Yeah, exactly.
Today.
But what I was going to say is pretty cool about the human body. Just, get some extra UV light in there, and you get through those winter blues. That was the other word that they used to call it, winter blues. It's a real thing, nothing to be ashamed of. It happens to many, many people. So it's how you navigate through getting yourself out of those winter blues. And the most inexpensive thing to do is light therapy. Highly recommended. Yep. Jean, tell us about the story of Stuff.
Gosh, Annie Leonard, my hero. I want to be this woman when I grow up. I mean, she's just really, really amazing. She started a movie called The Story of Stuff, and it talks about how, because I taught environmental science for quite a few years, and how we're taking a lot of toxins and putting them into our environment, so toxic in is going to be toxic out. And she did a great video series, and it was super, super simple. It was animated, but she's in it too. And super great video, very, very, and the website's called The Story of Stuff. But she went on to do a video and she's done several more videos called The Story of whatever. And one of them she did, and I recommend seriously for everybody to go and watch this. It's called The Story of Cosmetics. And this was a video that was released in 2010, and it goes through and examines the pervasive use of these toxic chemicals that are in our everyday personal care. And, from the cleaning products to the personal care products, from lipstick to baby shampoo. So it's a quick, short movie. It's like 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And it reveals the implications to the consumer and the workers. I think one of the things, and I just want to put a plug in for Pure Haven, because I got to go talk to one of the chemists that had just started working. I went to one of the conferences, and she was there at the conference. And so it was great because we started talking chemistry, and like people just walked away because they're like, yeah, no, or
out.
Yeah. So it was great. So I had her there for 10 or 15 minutes. And finally, I couldn't stop it. I said, why did you leave a company where you had to have been making at least a 6-figure salary to come to work for a small, mom and pop startup kind of company? And she says, I'll tell you exactly why I came. She said, because every day I had to be out on the floor. She says, I had to wear, and she was working for a big company. She said, I had to wear a gas mask. And, I had to breathe oxygen. I had to carry my own tank with me. She said, it's that toxic. She said, if you're pregnant on the floor, you can't be. She says, it'll harm the baby. So you can't. She's like, I didn't want to live that way. She says, I love my job. She'd only been there, at Pure Haven for like 3 weeks or so. She had just been recently hired. She said, I love, love, love my job. She said, I go to work and I don't have to worry about toxins and the toxins that are going to harm me and they're going to do things to me. So I just have to put a plug in for Pure Haven, but I do recommend people to watch. It's called The Story of Cosmetics, and it talks about what we can do to move away, to get away from the industry, because it's not going to come from the top down. It's not going to come from the top down. What's going to happen is we have to get away from these hazardous chemicals, and we have to do that by voting with our dollars. So whatever product you choose to use, check on the Environmental Working Group, their website, and use their cosmetic database, use their app, okay, without question. So please take a minute to watch this video. We'll post the link in the.
Where do we find it, Jean? Is it on YouTube?
It's called, you can find it on YouTube, but there's a website. It's called The Story of Stuff.
Oh, okay. The Story of Stuff. So it's actually a website. If you go under The Story of Stuff, on their website, there are videos underneath there. There's different videos that they have that talk about it. And it just talks about the impact of this. And I want to move into and segue into some of the other ingredients, because we've been, we talked about this last week, some of the top ingredients to avoid in personal care products. And the one I want to talk about tonight is called Triclosan. And I remember I was an elementary principal. Time out. Say that again. Triclosan. Triclosan. Okay. I just want to make sure I heard it right, because I learned so much from you. And these, I never really looked at shampoo labels before I met you. I had this basic knowledge of, growing up on a ranch. If my dad's chemical can had the skull and crossbones on it, stay away from it. Right. But I never thought, if I went into my home, into my bathroom, and put on my Johnson's baby shampoo, I was actually putting probably equal amount of chemical, well, not as deadly, but over time, their health,
they used to have Johnson baby shampoo had formaldehyde in it.
I know. And I used that clear into my teenage years because I loved the smell of it. I loved how it made my hair feel. And I loved that it didn't burn my eyes. I used baby shampoo, seriously, Jean, for many years. My kids, I slathered all my daughters in it. I just love that stuff. Not anymore.
And I thought it was
Not
safe.
Anymore. Yeah, I thought it was safe. I thought it was for babies. It was the best option for us. That was my thinking. If I use it, it's great for babies. It's got to be safe.
Exactly.
That was my
and that's what they wanted us to think. That's exactly what they wanted us to think. So Triclosan they use it as an antimicrobial chemical. In one point of my life, I was an elementary principal, and we had about 600 kids, close to 600 kids at the elementary school that I was at. And literally, when the kids would go into lunch, because you're talking about, you got a classroom of 25, 28 kids, and especially like first grade, to have them go to the bathroom and wash their hands before lunch.
That's a big to-do.
Please. Yeah. You're talking an hour, to get them all to wash it. Because they're going to go in there, they're going to play, they're going to, play with the soap, they're going to, have a paper towel war,
Spitballs.
Yeah, exactly. So they would literally line them up, and that was one of the things that they asked for, that parent list that would come home, at the beginning of the year, send these supplies in, and that's what they asked for, is the hand sanitizers. And that was one of the major things where Triclosan was being used. And they would literally line them up and pump it out. And they would do this several times a day. And I understand why, especially if a kid was coming in sick, and coughing and hacking, at 6, 7 years of age, they don't know how to cover their cough, And I understand why they were doing this, but they lined them up, literally, and pumped all this stuff in it. And Triclosan is a known endocrine disruptor. Known.
I was reading Susan's Cooper's comment. Did you see this? Holy cow. Johnson and Johnson's bad news. Their employees have to sign a paper that they won't sue them if they get cancer.
Well, there's a huge lawsuit right now with Johnson and Johnson about baby powder, and I think it's uterine cancer. I think it is. I'm not quite sure, but it's a huge lawsuit. Huge, big lawsuit. Yes, this is a big one.
Go on to the school.
I did not know that, Susan, about that if they get cancer, but I wouldn't doubt it. From what this woman said, who is the chemist that I got to talk to, I mean, literally, she had to carry, her own oxygen around with her. That's not what I want to be doing where I work.
They're going to have to pay me like 7 figures if I was going to 8 figures, lots of figures.
I know, right?
I know. It's not going to happen. Bottom line is I wouldn't work in it for, there's not enough money. Your health cannot be bought. It can be created through a whole food plant-based lifestyle and trying to omit as many environmental toxins and chemicals from your lifestyle. But yeah, there's that putting yourself in that type of situation is just asking for trouble.
Absolutely. So let's go back to the Triclosan.
Okay.
So the Triclosan it's an endocrine disruptor, and especially for the thyroid and the reproductive hormones. Now, Neil Barnard's is writing a book right now on this issue. So, and this is one of my biggest pet peeves, especially with this Triclosan. So, and it's a skin irritant on top of that, okay? So, and there were studies that were shown that raised concerns that the Triclosan is contributing to making the bacteria, which is supposed to kill, antibiotic-resistant, because it's becoming resistant to the Triclosan. So, and there wasn't enough, evidence that, the washing with the antibacterial soaps and things like that contain the Triclosan were provided any benefit over just washing it with regular soap and water, that kind of thing. But you're going to find Triclosan in toothpastes and the hand sanitizers and deodorants, things like that. So, but what bothers me the most is the government finally said, okay, we need to stop using Triclosan. So they banned it in the hand sanitizers, but they didn't ban it in anything else. So you can still put it into toothpaste and deodorants and things like that. It's like, oh, wait. You're banning it in one product, but not in others? What? I just want to beat my head against the wall. I do.
It's just that, I mean, is that the FDA? Is that who
well, there's no regulation.
There's no
it's
regulation.
The Wild West.
Yeah.
There's no regulation out there. So
that's just terrible. Absolutely. I mean, and I'm looking at our notes for our agenda tonight, and it's like, like you say, it's an endocrine disruptor. And, I had thyroid issues, you have thyroid issues. And that's one of the things I did about 3 years ago was really clean up, what type of antiperspirant deodorant I use. Just Nick and I getting really aggressive about removing commercial products like Tide and Bounce. And that's when I started really seeing a noticeable change in my thyroid health. So it's a big deal to, you think, how can I just stop using the products I've been using my whole life? Right. For me, I grew up and my mom used Tide. My clothes were in Tide. I love the smell of Tide. We use Bounce. I love the smell of Bounce. I literally, when I was in high school, my hair was about the length that it is now. And I get staticky hair so bad. I would be walking out the door, go into the laundry room, and I would pull a dryer sheet off of Bounce, and I would literally rub it all over my hair to get the static out. And then I would take it and I would rub it all over my shirt if it was staticky, or my pants. And so those chemicals were on. I did that all the time.
I know. And it's a wonder why, because you had issues with your thyroid. I did too. Yep. I mean, and we're using a lot of these chemicals that are endocrine disruptors. I mean, yep. Seriously. So it really upsets me. Really upsets me. So anyway, Marianne said she looked up OxiClean today, and she says she's been using it in her laundry. She said better stop using it.
Yeah, I'm curious, Marianne, what its score was on the Environmental Working Group website. I'm curious to see what that is.
They have a database not only for the personal care products, but they have it for cleaning products as well.
Right,
so
exactly.
Take the time to look that up. There's the app. It's free. It's called Healthy Living. I'm a big, big, big supporter of the Environmental Working Group. Huge.
Me too.
I like the consumer reports for the environment. Okay.
Yep.
Oh,
I
Mary
love that
Ann
app.
got a D.
Ooh,
Okay.
that's not good. That's
That
not
is
good.
not good at
That's
all.
not good. That's a
That's
thumbs
good.
down. That's
Yeah.
bad. That's
Okay.
bad.
So the next chemical I want to talk about is called sodium lauryl sulfate or sodium laureth sulfate. Okay. So these are used as like surfactants in like 90% of the personal care and cleaning products. Think of like anything that's foaming. Okay, that's where you're going to find this product. It's known to be a skin, lung, and eye irritant, and we're putting it into things like shampoo, just stuff like that.
It's unbelievable.
So, yeah, I know.
And they wonder why, we have so much cancer and disease in this country. Not just the food that we all eat, that we've all grown up eating, but then you put in the chemical burden on our poor bodies. It's like, it's amazing. It just goes to show you, Jean, how amazing the human body really is. So when
it truly is.
It truly is. It's a miracle. I mean, our body is truly a miracle. I totally believe it's a miracle, because when we take the environmental chemical load, the toxins, and then all of the food that we're really not designed to eat, it's amazing. We are just not keeling over in our 20s.
I don't know how we survived this long
or sooner. I
mean, we're starting to see. I mean, I don't think a day goes by that I don't hear somebody being diagnosed with cancer or having some of the major diseases. I mean, and that's our body expressing itself as being sick and toxic.
It's very scary. It's quite scary.
So the next one I want to talk about, we kind of talked about it a little bit already. Formaldehyde. Johnson & Johnson used that. Now the shampoo has changed. They changed the formula, so they're not using formaldehyde, thank goodness. But it was in there for quite a while. Formaldehyde is a preservative, and you might recognize the smell, the wonderful scent. We used to use it to preserve dead animals. I mean, that's what it was for.
Yeah, I remember it from my biology classes.
Yes, and how bad it was. And I remember, because I worked a lot in the bio room, and when the smell, I would go home with massive headaches. They were doing dissection in the bio lab. And they've changed, instead of using formaldehyde, they use a kind of a derivative of it. It's called formalin, and it's a different chemical. So still along the same lines, and it still stinks. Oh my God. I mean, you go by the bio room when they're doing dissections, and it's like, wow, that's just, I mean, even the windows being open, fans, ventilation, nothing is going to help it. Anyway, it's to help prevent bacteria growth, within the products. But it's a human carcinogen by the International Agency for Research on Carcinogens, okay? They list it that way. And it's linked to occupational related careers, with nasal and, cancer. Oh my God. So it's known to cause allergic skin reactions and can be totally detrimental to the immune system, right?
Yeah.
You're going to find it in nail polish, body washes, conditioners, shampoos, cleansers, eyeshadows, and nail polish treatments. So please, 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 please read the label. If it's got formaldehyde in it, please don't use it. It's super bad to the body. Super bad.
Not good.
So,
propylene glycol. I've seen that ingredient, Jean, in, maybe it's not propylene glycol, but those, okay, so this goes back to when I was going to Weight Watchers. One of the things that the Weight Watcher group was really raving about is this new product that came out called Miso, it's a flavoring. You put 2 or 3 drops in your water, sugar-free. It's got aspartame in it, or, some type of artificial sweetener. But then, and I was all excited about it, and I showed it to my coworker, and he was like you. He was a chemistry major. He goes and turns it over, and he looks at the back. He goes, I wouldn't give this to my pet rat. He says it was some kind of glycol in it. And I was like, oh gosh, is that bad? So I threw it right away. I mean, I never even took a drop. I was just excited because I was peeling it off and I was going to have it. It was like grape flavored or something. He goes, no, you need to throw this away, Nancy. It is so bad for you.
Yeah.
But everybody in the Weight Watchers world is raving about it.
I know.
And they're like, no. He's like, do not consume this. Yeah. Period. It's Mio. I think it's called Mio. not good. Lot of what I call questionable ingredients in there.
Yeah. So propylene glycol, it's an organic alcohol that's commonly used. And the word organic, I want to just clarify, because there's the USDA certified organic, which means that you're using certain organic farming practices. But I just want to make sure that people understand that organic alcohol doesn't mean organic USDA certified. Organic means that it is a chain, of carbon based. So I just want to clarify that. Anyway, but it's usually used as a skin conditioning agent there. And it's classified. Okay, you're using it for a skin conditioning agent, and it's classified as a skin irritant, okay, and penetrator, so that it gets through the skin, the cells, the cell walls. It's associated with causing dermatitis as well as hives.
Wow.
But when you use it in skin treatments, it's like you're going to find it in things like moisturizers, sunscreens, makeup products, conditioners, shampoos, and hairsprays. Really?
Wow.
Anyway.
Wow. That's bad.
I know. And the last one I want to talk about today is sunscreen chemicals. These are chemicals that are going to function as a sunscreen agent, and they're designed to absorb, the ultraviolet light. So these are endocrine disruptors, and these are believed to be easily absorbed into the body. And these, they believe, are going to cause cellular damage, okay? So when you get down to, and you're causing damage at the cellular level, that's changing your DNA, just saying.
Yeah, that's scary. That's
I know. And also the cancer. Cancer is another big one in the body. So
scary.
Yeah, it is. Scary. And it really upsets me. It disturbs me a lot that especially kids are being, done. Even children, they're finding out. The Red Cross did a study with the EWG, and they started looking at the umbilical cords. They took umbilical cords from, just born children, and they were looking at the blood, and they did an analysis of it, and they found something like close to, I think it was 189 on average chemicals that the babies had in their bloodstream. And they, of course, got it from the mother. Yeah. So the babies are being born toxic now.
Yeah, that's so heartbreaking.
It is. And when you start to see these things, so it's really, really super important. And I want people to please, please, please pay attention to the chemicals that you're being exposed to. And it's not just the stuff that you're using for shampoo, deodorant, toothpaste. Think about the cleaning products that you're using for like the bathroom, the sprays that we use to clean the bathroom. You scrub that stuff, then it goes down the drain. Okay. So here's the thing. That goes back to the water treatment plant, they're not really designed to take out all these chemical toxins. So it's just coming right back to you in your tap water.
Yep. So it's very scary.
Super, super important. Please, for the environment, for your health, please take care and to not use things that are toxic. And you can't use, like, there's words that we're being greenwashed, it's called, because things that use this natural, healthy, promoting, all these things that you think are going to be good. No. You have to do your research. You have to go use the EWG Environmental Working Group. They've got some amazing databases that will help you to make the right decisions. Okay.
Absolutely.
So, and if you want,
let's end on that.
Essentials, you can order from us, either one, and we're happy to do it because they're amazing. I can't say enough about them. Anyway.
Awesome. Let's end on that note, Jean.
Yeah.
If you are interested in our Starch Queens program, check us out at sqweightloss.com. Check out our educational website at starchqueens.net. We have a wonderful program. We always love seeing all of you on our Talking Tuesdays with the Starch Queens. If you have questions for us, check out our Facebook page, put your questions down there, and we'll definitely have them on our, next week is Dr. David Danaeff. He wasn't feeling good tonight. So next week we'll have Dr. David Danaeff, and we continue with our holiday series. And after that, it'll be a good follow-up after talking about heart disease and talking about how we can work through these holidays. Have a great evening. Good night, everybody.
John Boy.
Night, Mary Ellen.